Hello, 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 and welcome to lunch. I hope you're having a nice lunch. I'm not going to be eating lunch today because I had a McDonald's breakfast. I'm going to tell you a funny story about that right after our land acknowledgement and introducing the 6 and soon to be 7 people on this week's Wednesday's Lunch Zone. All right, but first, we acknowledge that in Milwaukee, we live and work on traditional Potawatomi, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee homelands along the southwest shores of the Michigamme, part of North America's largest system of freshwater lakes, where the Milwaukee, Menominee, and Kinnickinnic rivers meet and the people of Wisconsin's sovereign Anishinaabe, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Oneida, and Mohican counties remain present. I'm your host today, Eric Kirsting, and I'm joined by...
David Kutchik, who is also
you might
a
want to wait a
PhD
sec. I'm sorry. The volume's so loud.
My bad.
Oh no, that's not you.
Loud.
It's not your fault. Okay. All right, go ahead.
I'm from the Midwest, so I do speak very loud. Yeah, I'm David. I am a PhD student here at UW Milwaukee.
I'm Janelle Malagon. I'm a second-year PhD student here at UW Milwaukee too.
And go ahead.
No, you got it.
I'm Matthew Carricker, and I am what am I? What am I just now? You know, I'm on sabbatical, I guess. Here in presence, part of the hive mind, but not yet affiliated with the university.
You're auditing a course this semester, though.
That is correct. That's right.
That means you're more of a student here than I am as a now PhD candidate.
I am Morgan Forbush. I'm a master's student here in anthropology. And yeah.
I am Ren. I am a master's student in English, and I'm ready to aggressively force a conversation about the Cryptopticon into this game.
So, yeah. So I really, really want Casey to be here for my story. So when Casey gets here, I'm gonna tell the story. Just remind me, hey, tell the story. It's a pretty good story from my morning.
Morgan still needs...
Oh no, Morgan said hi. Am I wrong?
I said hi.
Oh, never mind. I got confused.
All right, so
Thank you for standing up for me, even if I didn't need it.
but you know, I got my Nintendo 64 shirt on and my top knot, and we're gonna play some Prison Architect. It's not Prison Break, which is a television show from the 20s, the 2000s that I watched with my mom, and it's not the Shawshank Redemption either. We're the wardens, I guess. We're gonna build a prison today.
I'm really glad for that clarification.
And so we have a couple things we can do, and I kind of waited for this moment to just spring a surprise on you guys. We can either do the campaign, or we can just try to create a new prison from scratch.
Interesting.
I like my prisons the way I like my bread, handmade.
Also, I think Casey's here.
Yeah, Casey is here.
yeah,
Tell
Casey
the
is
story.
Casey needs to introduce themselves first.
You're right.
Oh, he's in. They're in VC, but their mic isn't working.
Well, if they can hear, this is going to be a Casey would go, what the hell? Because Casey has a much stronger sense of justice than I do. And right or wrong. Casey has just a very highly developed sense of right and wrong. Compared to, you're very salty, I guess that's another way of putting it. So today, so if you live in Milwaukee, you know about snow operations, and we've gotten a lot of snow this week. By the way, let's click on this. I want the music in the game to be playing, but I guess it's just not going to play.
Yes, fuck yeah. Okay.
There you are. All right.
Can I talk about, before you even get to it, I fucking hate that Milwaukee deals with snow and people that don't fucking grow up in Milwaukee with this whole, oh, you just have to know that what kind of street you have to fucking park on. Like, as if it's fucking posted everywhere.
Yeah, it should. It could be better. It could be better communicated. I'm fortunate to be in a small community that is in Milwaukee. that has been here for a long time. My best friends, that is, who are just like, hey, remember to park on the other side of the street and that kind of thing, which helped me learn about these rules. I agree. The rules are silly. So I go out today and I have to park on the other side of the street because I parked on the other side last night, and there's going to be another snow operation tonight. And the thing is on my street, it gets filled up really quick, right? So it's good to just get it done right in the morning. And so I get up and it's like 9:30 maybe, and I get dressed and I put up my top knot,
Did they tag your car for parking on the right side of the street early in the morning?
What?
Like, did they tag your car at 9 a.m.?
No.
Okay.
You gotta let me tell. The story has nothing to do with this. This is just set dressing. But since I was getting in my car and I live a 2-minute drive from a McDonald's, I'm gonna reward myself with some McDonald's, right? That's my life motto. Reward yourself with McDonald's whenever you do anything outside of the house, especially during a pandemic. So, I go out and I shovel out my car because this is very funny. As an aside, everyone on my street is clairvoyant. We all knew there would be a snow operation yesterday, so 2 days ago, everyone parked on the other side of the street before the snow even went down. So like we were anticipating having to be on the correct side of the street, which is pretty funny in and of itself. This has nothing to do with prisons. So I shovel out my car, I go to McDonald's. First of all, it's really busy, which is fine. I am in the line at McDonald's. Now, McDonald's has two things for the drive-through, right? They're like they're sequential, one after the other, right? This is the one on North, if kind of by where you used to live, Janelle, if I recall. You and I live basically, I think, equidistant from that McDonald's, but in opposite directions. And so I'm in the line, and I get to the first in the sequence of the two drive-through window, or not really windows, but the microphone things. And I start ordering. This person behind me, in their giant red SUV, has the gall, as I'm ordering, to drive around me. Note, the parking lot is covered in snow. They could have easily slid and hit me, but I digress. They have the gall to drive around me and go to the microphone in front of me as I'm ordering, leapfrogging me in line. They had a busted taillight, which to me accurately describes their driving acumen.
I agree.
Who does that? Who leapfrogs someone in a drive-through?
Dude, that's ice
I've never
cold.
had that happen in my life.
That's ice cold, man.
That is some grade A.
That's Milwaukee. That is Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, that sounds like a Seinfeld episode.
It kind of does.
Hey, I'm ordering here.
Oh my god.
My undergraduate, talking about snow operations, my undergraduate, if you parked on any side of the road at any time after 2 a.m., you'd automatically get ticketed, or you'd get plowed into oblivion because we'd regularly get a foot of snow overnight. So there was no side of the street that you could park on. They were like, if this street needs street parking, we'll give you special permission, but otherwise, no street parking from October to April.
Rip.
So,
Eric, you have an incoming call there.
Well, that's the thing. We have. I mean, I don't know. It's a CEO. I've been following Wall Street Bets, and you're not supposed to trust those guys.
Yeah, they won't let you buy the GameStop stock.
So the question is, do we want to create a new prison, or do we want to follow the campaign? I'll answer the call if we choose campaign. But we could create a new prison from scratch if we desire.
We should create a new prison, a utopian idea of what a prison should be like.
yeah, we'll
my
make it
God.
8-sided. With like a pole, like a guard tower in the middle of it. It'll be great.
My utopian idea of a prison is an empty field with no prison in it.
My utopian prison is where I am the overlord and everyone listens to me.
Casey,
Casey.
I want to hear more about your ideal prison, but unfortunately, I cannot hear you at all.
What?
You're like,
Yeah.
we can hear you, but you're very quiet.
Very quiet.
Yeah,
You sound a little far.
You're
Give
at
me a second.
200% for me too. So we're gonna have a small prison because, right?
Mhm.
Okay, there we go.
Intimate,
All right.
artisanal.
All right,
Artisanal.
Warren mode.
Come to
Play
my
as the
artisanal prison.
Warren working on site of the prison you are building. We're not going to do that. That seems complicated.
Right.
So fog of war. You lose visibility inside your prison buildings unless you have guards patrolling the area or CCTV cameras. I think that we should have fog of war on because that's privacy for our people. Now, are we going to have a male or female prison? Now, that's a little reductive. We could have a.
Mhm.
I mean, if we're building the utopic prison, we could just have both.
Yeah. Also, come on, game. I want my intersex only prison.
Yeah, where's my intersex only prison?
I hate you so much.
Let's see. Should we do? Male or female prison?
We got we got someone in chat that just says man, so I'm not sure if that is responding like, oh man, or
A wild
It might be,
Codian. Hey,
well, orange is the new black. It could be like that. Sure.
yeah,
Orange
we
is the
could
new
do
black.
we could do either. And then
There's more choice for the warden than the prisoners.
yes, which makes a little sense, I guess. It's gamey. So we have the warden, the most balanced individual on the planet, the lobbyist, his friends in high places, and make sure the more easily controlled prisoners end up coming to his way. Okay. Rita is ruthless and terrifying, because any woman in a position of power must be. Rita has a reputation for running her facilities through judicial application of fear. Rumors of her carrying a whip may be exaggerated. Halves the likelihood of prisoners being stoical or fearless, and prisoners are suppressed. I don't like Rita.
So you could have a dominatrix
like
as
it
your
either.
warden? That's like fucking weird. All right, game.
Yeah, I think Resident Evil Village took some inspiration from this.
I love it.
Big lady.
I
Yeah.
haven't watched the trailer for
They-
Village, but I've just seen all the memes, and I'm like, this is gonna be a great game.
Oh wait, there is another woman. There's Safara Aknova, has a spotless reputation and a squeaky clean
Get out.
record. But behind the scenes, shady deals and under the table offerings are nothing uncommon for her. It's a small cut of the resale value of each piece of contraband found. Prisoners found with contraband are likely to be fined directly from their savings. Ooh. Well, they're all bad, right? These are nobody here is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
The pacifier
no-
is nice. He's unusual talent
Pacifier
for
is
being
nice.
calm.
Is he?
even-
Is he?
The most violent individuals. He makes people more docile.
Is the
okay.
pacifier played by Dwayne the Rock Johnson or Vin Diesel?
I hope it's The Rock.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
based on the portrait,
What up?
it looked like it could be Danny DeVito.
I
yeah.
don't remember who actually is the pacifier.
I kind of want to go with Aknova. I like the idea of having someone shady.
All right, we'll go with Aknova. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pick the cute dog. I mean, they're all cute. They're dogs, but the middle dog, the companion, a guard's best friend.
What
Is
are the
it
other
cute
ones?
when it's chewing on your leg?
There's the
No.
husky, which is a deadly
Dogs are
trap
always
for an
adorable.
escapee moving through the snow,
No.
and the classic. So just the companion seems to be the nice one.
Yeah, I think the companion.
All right, so we'll generate forests.
Everyone deserves lakefront property at my prison.
Failure. We'll have.
What is lunar
Let's
plot?
have failure conditions on. I think that these are. Oh, generate a starting plot of land that resembles the lunar surface. Okay, we're gonna have a moon prison
Moon prison.
because that's
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks, gangs. Some prisoners will arrive with gang allegiances, not on the moon. We'll have failure conditions on. Dynamic reputations. Prisoners have the chance to gain or lose reputation traits. This is weather and temperature. Sure, we'll add that.
On the moon.
On the moon, staff needs, and they're on. Yeah, staff have needs too. Escape plans enables more escape options for prisoners. On the moon, you're gonna need it. Unlimited funds. So, as this is our ideal prison, do we have unlimited funds?
Yeah, go to the moon. You know,
Yeah.
moonshot.
My headcanon is that we're Elon Musk, and that's how we got to the moon in the first
All right,
place.
we're building Elon Musk's prison. Someone update the title.
I'm on it.
Start a new game with your entire bureaucracy tree fully researched. Yeah, we'll do that too. Enable to. We won't have cheats though. We're going to the moon, but even Elon Musk cannot cheat death.
Yes.
yet.
We hope. We
I
hope.
don't know. He already looks like a bunch of beans in a skin body. So like, I feel like he's already been like
So
bornified.
there's
Hello,
mutators.
Kinan. How are you doing, Casey?
There's mutators here, including lighten the load, and one of them is no violent prisoners. Is our ideal
love
lunar
that.
prison no violent prisoners? Sure, I believe the best in people.
Yeah, I'm here for that.
The
Oh, really?
spectral staff. Your staff members can walk through walls. I'll keep that one off.
Was spectral staff on the moon? Total
Yeah, our moon prison run by ghosts.
Yeah.
All right, I don't want to get. All right,
Moon ghosts.
all right. I'm gonna go ahead and click play here. All right. So we're on the moon, and our prisoners are arriving. I pause the game. Let's build some walls. All
Oh, I
right.
love these trees.
Let's
How
build
moon.
some walls.
That's some moon.
Yeah,
chic
I mean
right there,
it
those
is a
pink trees.
prison. You're gonna have to. All right, so we need a foundation first. So we can build a building brick or building concrete. There's also more. White. There's. Oh, wow. There's Oriental Wall.
What is an Oriental Wall?
Yeah, I'm very curious about what that's supposed to mean.
Oh,
Isn't that like
I need to
little
have
bolts?
I need to block construct building frame. Okay, so oops, this is they don't. It only starts constructing once I build it. So or once I put time back on. So we need to be careful. So
Okay.
let's
I
go
mean,
ahead.
that is kind of Elon Musk-like, though. You know, building your coded Oriental moon prison with infinite money.
I'm gonna build. Hold on.
Sounds legit.
All right, so let's go ahead and garbage and deliveries. I'm gonna go ahead and just build a 30 by 30 meters. So that's gonna be our starting. Oh wait, no. There's the 30.
We could
and-
start with just like a pen, like just an open 4 wall, put them in the moon prison.
Okay. Requires entrance.
It's just a fence on the moon. Like it's about as useful as Trump's border wall. It's just on the moon.
We built the wall, just not where we're supposed to be.
All
And
right.
over there.
Well,
I mean,
think
you may want to cover the top of it so
I'm
people
gonna.
don't float.
I have a gardener, so I think on the moon we're gonna need a couple of these. So since we have unlimited money, we're gonna have a flock of gardeners. There's 10 gardeners, and our guys are gonna need some cooks. So there's 10 cooks. All right.
You don't think that's too many cooks?
Here's.
Are
Oh
they
my
going
God.
to spoil the stew?
Oh my god.
Grown.
We're gonna
Yeah.
need. We're gonna need some psychologists too. All right. There's 10 psychologists. All right. This is
They're gonna have some lovely gardens with psychologists. This is gonna be great.
So now I'm just trying to figure out how do I put up a door? Walls and doors. Oh, wait, doors are here. Okay. Well, let's just have the first one. We're just gonna have a door. Whoop. We're gonna put a door here. Okay. Now we have a door. Now I'm gonna press space and things are gonna start getting built. Maybe I need to build, or maybe I need to hire some workmen.
Who put a truck on the moon? What? You did? Did you put that truck on the moon?
All right. So, all right. There's our workmen. Yeah, the workmen seem to be they seem to be moving with purpose. The psychologists, not so much.
The psychologists are like, how does it? We're making a prison here. How does that make you feel here?
All right. The gardeners are gardening. I think we need more
Nice.
workers, so I'm gonna go ahead and. All right, there we go. The workers are building.
There's like an odd piece.
Oh my
to
gosh! I
watching
just
them
thought
move.
we could build a prison for Trump.
That's hilarious.
Can we, please?
Okay, well that'll be we'll spend the last 20 minutes. We'll get used to the systems here, and then we're gonna build the Trump prison. Okay.
I think I need to update the stream title again.
Well,
And they're
first,
building their own rooms.
Look at that.
well, these aren't the prisoners. These are the workmen, right?
I know, but the internal design of the prison, you just sort of set a square there. Or Mitch.
Read.
Yeah, I was
This is
also wondering about that. How is there like some kind of plan being followed? Like, did you choose anything, or is this just generated or random?
They're just working. Yeah, they're random. It's random in that sense, I suppose.
I think it's a powerful research question. What would happen if we just allowed a prison to emerge?
Utilities. Oh yeah. See, this game has a lot of stuff. Surprise!
It does. To Matthew's question, though, it does kind of ask that, but as a kind of prereq, it asks, what's the point of it? Even if it sort of emerges organically, like it somewhat seems to be happening here. What is the purpose or intention of it as a space?
I put a sofa in.
That's where we'll film couch surfing in our moon prison.
I'm gonna put a TV next to that too. That's under let's see if I can find a TV.
This is to say nothing bad about couch surfing. It's just that this is our
There's
prison.
a couch.
Well,
There's a couch now.
well, you know, inspired by, I'm sure our prisoners now would very much like. I don't know how to rotate the object. Does anybody know how to do that?
R?
Genius.
Maybe?
All right, look
don't
at.
know.
Oh, that's bad for your back, buddy. 2 people should be carrying the wide sofas.
There were no labor laws on the moon.
Oh, yeah.
That's why Elon Musk prefers the moon. It's all
right.
coming together.
Let's go ahead, and I think we're gonna speed things up to 3 arrows.
It is really pleasant to watch. Then you remember they're building a prison.
Well, they're building the nicest prison. Our gardeners are just gardening on the moon. I don't know, guys.
They gotta make sure all the rocks are in the right spot.
Let's go ahead. Planning walls.
Yeah,
doors.
otherwise somebody will call our moon prison a hoax.
We'll put a pool table in here too. Oh my gosh! If only one person carries that in, oh, I found a TV. Well,
Our moon prison exists in a near future where all capitalist ventures are ironically crowdsourced from online communities.
This is the Wall Street bets you guys asked for.
What's going on with Wall Street bets? I'm so confused.
So basically, as we watch these guys, I don't know. They look confused. It looks like they don't know what they're doing. I'm gonna be honest.
The Wall Street bets thing is basically like, you know how they say Pepe the Frog became like a vehicle for Trump to get into the White House? Well, it's the same principle, but instead they're ironically pushing stock prices, as far as I can tell.
Ah.
So it's just.
Are they like investing in a certain stock?
GME just now, and then before it was Tesla, just because Daddy Tesla, puts out a tweet saying, almost like, what would you like to the crowd at the Coliseum? He's kind of like, is this what you want? Are you happy? And he's like, Tesla's going to go to the moon or whatever, and then it just goes to show that the stock market has no bearing on actual reality, but it's just memes at this point.
Oh, not at all. The stock market literally went up and had its highest day ever when the Capitol was invaded. So I think it's gone up past that, but
Stock market has always been memes.
All right, I had them build a kitchen and a medical. Oh, maybe they're finished.
Oh, they're misaligned.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? No prison is perfect.
Welcome to our abstract prison. It's the idea of a prison. That's what matters. But also, yeah, the stock trolling is really, it's something. I don't think it's necessarily surprising. It's just, it sure is happening.
They say that we need a fence.
Sure it is, yeah.
What about the cells?
Oh no, our
Do we have
first
them?
prisoner. It's Austin. Austin, we'll build you a nice luxury cell right there.
Yeah.
There you go, Austin.
Oh,
All these
very
people,
nice.
all
Too
these
big,
people are
but-
here. All these workers are here for you, Oz. Oh, Eads.
Is
Here-
that the
here's your-
Hannibal Lecter?
I'm building a luxury prison around each prisoner.
Austin is a space pirate. Yes, Austin is a space
All right,
pirate.
we're just gonna. The way that these are not particularly well designed. These. Okay, so we need to have the prison cell doors be facing a thing. Okay, so I'm just. All right. There we go. Look at this. There we go. All right. See, you guys have a nice block. We're gonna Panopticon you guys probably. Let's put a canteen down. Put a canteen down. Don't worry. We'll put the canteen kind of in the middle so you can always be reminded of food.
It's the Panopticon, but instead of the guard tower, it's just the canteen. Everybody's hungry all the time.
Allow me to say it's the pots and panopticons.
Somebody cooks bacon all the time.
Oh no, we need
just
power.
for the smells.
We need power. Utilities.
Yeah, I
Power
think Ludo Scholar might
station.
be right. You might want to pause it so that you're not trying to race your tiny, very fast workers.
All right, so there's some power stations and then capacitors. It says just put them next to the thing. So there we go. Look at that. Okay. And then we need electrical cable. Okay, so let's.
I can't help but feel like this is how, like, if there was an episode of Phineas and Ferb where Doofenshmirtz built a prison, that this is how it
We're
would
gonna
work.
need a water pump station. And then we're gonna need to build some large pipes.
Why don't we get more workers?
I can
If we
get more. That's
Yeah, let's
right.
get,
All right,
let's get
hold
more
on.
workers.
The
What are we
point-
going to do with all this unlimited money?
We can't get too many workers, Ati. Then they'll get class solidarity and rise up against us.
All right, we
Yep.
got the workers. The
I'm
workers are doing their
interplay.
thing. Oh no, these guys need homes.
Well,
That's-
you give them homes, then they get the consciousness. So
Yeah, and
Oh, so we should have a lot of workers and no homes for them.
quick
exactly.
build. More luxury cells. Okay. Okay.
Provide lodgings for all of the workers and everything.
Well, the workers don't need to sleep. The prisoners need to sleep.
Oh man, there goes those gardeners.
Okay. I don't know how to do lodging. The workers go home at night. Oh, okay. So what are these? Why do they want something? They want the prisoners are asking for doors. I don't know why. Are for Okay, hold on. Let me look at this.
Prisoners are just asking for cells.
They're asking.
Yeah, they're tired.
They're asking for They're asking for jail doors. I'll just put a jail door there. Okay. I don't know. That's in the middle of nowhere. We'll build a wall. Okay. A nice brick wall. No, is there Oriental Wall? Okay. All right. So this wall
Oh my god.
this is the side of the prison. This is the prison here. All right, and then this is all the not prison.
Well, at least we can finally put to bed what this wall is.
These guys are, for some reason, they can't get into the luxury cell. Well, that's because that's Austin's home. You guys aren't allowed in there once you build it. But I don't know what these workers are doing.
Are they trying to like open the door? Is that maybe why they're broken?
What do you want, Dixon? What do you want? Why are you complaining?
You can't open the doors because there's no power. You know, aren't like
Oh yeah,
prison
that's probably
doors
it.
all tied to a. So when the lights go off and then all the doors open and all the prisoners get out. You know, that's the trope.
I don't know if starting with building our own prison was a good idea, guys.
Are you kidding?
Do you
This
wanna
is so
go-
entertaining.
All right, so we're gonna
Do you
go.
want to go back to campaign?
I'm gonna build electricity. Okay. This.
I love that the campaign starts with like, for at least the title for the first campaign mission is just it really eases you in with death row.
Look at how well our gardeners have done. The moon is now green instead of notebook page. There has to be some means of grading the player in his progen within a prion. What are the primary purposes of a prison? Depends on who you ask. Protection, punishment. What is this? Why is this here?
There's a meta narrative in Prison
How would you
Simulator.
grade these within? Okay, this is crazy. All right, we're gonna save this prison as perfect prison,
Wow.
and then I'm gonna save that. Okay, so this is the perfect prison. In case you're wondering, there's a hole in the wall right there, so anyone can get out whenever they want. It's 1/3 built. There's a bunch of half-built luxury cells. One of them has workmen are tired and locked in or out of these cells. And there's a lot more workers than there are prisoners. There's a lot of these guys. All right, let's go ahead and let's load the campaign. We'll try out Death Row. We've been contracted to build execution chamber at this prison in time for the scheduled execution of one of the inmates. Well, I want to fail this campaign. All right. Why is there there's no sound in this?
Paradox.
Oh, it's got oh my god, it's got cinematic scrolling. I just what motivates you to make this game? What were the devs thinking when they were like, oh yeah, you know the game we want to make? Prison Architect.
This kind of looks like the same as the prison, there's a Prison Break game that looks very similar to this.
How could we make a more exciting roller coaster tycoon?
I was gonna say, I
That's what
mean,
I was trying to do,
Sims
yeah.
have been made of so many different structures that I don't want to say it was inevitable because nothing's inevitable, but it makes sense that a sim for something like this would occur as a dominant social structure.
Oh, it's called.
Unfortunately, something that's very prevalent in American society.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Oh, that doesn't look like the perfect prison.
It does. It's
This is a tough one. There's a
Also, I guess
prisoner
this is a private prison since you have the CEO, or you're talking to the E CEO.
convicted of a double murder and sentenced to death. That's where we come in. We've been contacted to construct an execution chamber. Time for the guy's big day. Okay, so you're an asshole.
Clearly. CEO of a private prison.
This is where I want the new facility to be built, over here. Okay. The first step with any project like this is to construct the building itself with enough space to fit an execution chamber and a holding cell. Construct the
Yo,
building.
deadass, this guy looks like my old boss.
So let's get started. Construct a new building here. We will also need an entrance to the execution facility. Build a large jail cell on the southern wall. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just check. The game's audio is so quiet now. I'll go ahead and put it up to here. Okay. All right. So the rules are build a foundation. We're gonna do a brick, I guess, and then we're gonna do. What do you want, CEO? The workmen are responsible for the construction. Oh, we didn't have storage before. They'll collect the steel and concrete from this room and take it to the construction site. They'll use the raw materials to build a foundation. This is the slowest part of construction, so you should plan ahead. While we wait, take a look around. But I haven't put in the large jail door yet. Okay.
But everyone needs jail doors. Why do people really want jail doors?
Alright, so that's the chief and the foreman's office. Double click to move an object. So, whoops, it looks like the CEO's stuff is now all outside of the prison. And the door that might protect him. You know, I think while we're at it, I think a good idea is you guys, oh man, your cells are so bare. What if the whole prison was your cell though? Let's move all the prison doors over here. That way you guys can go anywhere you want. Oh, I added a regular door. Whoops. Okay, so we'll get back to that later. How are you guys doing over here building? You guys need to work faster. It was just the foreman, says mathematics. Oh
Yeah.
no, the foreman doesn't have an office anymore. What about the warden? Whoops.
They're oddly good at staying in
I don't know what-
their rooms.
Inside the building, I want a cell and an execution room. Partition the space by constructing some brick walls. Okay, so you want me to construct the brick walls like that. That's cool. I'm gonna construct the brick walls like this. Okay. Okay, and you want me to construct an additional brick wall or two. Okay, I'll do one there and there and there. Alright. There you go. And,
PhD Simulator has a good question that I
what?
think we could discuss. What does it suggest that the very first part of this tutorial is to set up an execution chamber? You're given this task as soon as you accept to play the campaign, but it's clearly a game tutorial.
I think that this is it's kind of a tone-deaf start to this game. Now add a large jail door here. Well, instead of that, what I was thinking is I will build your execution chamber, but I'm gonna keep the wall here.
I was gonna say, that does bring up interesting questions about the association between jail and death.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
and corporal punishment.
I agree,
Yes, it
Little
implies
Scholar.
that,
I don't think it's
ultimately
celebrating it.
a prison's strength, its core, is in its death chamber, you know, and like its authority begins there. You know, the most efficient form of punishment, deterrence, whatever, and then from there, you know, you grow out of. At least this is the rhetoric of the game, not my own opinion.
Yeah, and Ludo Scholar says, I'm not sure that it's celebrating it, which is interesting. Like, the CEO does seem to be kind of constructed as like a very shady figure.
I feel like it's a character. Oh god, if I can say it, a caricature. Being like, pointing out the kind of the ridiculousness of the area, of the game, of like, oh, we just make an execution room because it's for his big day, sort of thing. It kind of makes it seem, I don't know, I feel like it could be being like, look at how ridiculous our prison complex is.
Yeah,
in some way, but also like it depends on how it comes across.
I think there's a layer to this that is very obviously attempting some kind of satire.
Yes, I agree.
And the question is whether this game is Far Cry 3 or whether it's pick any other satirical or the Stanley Parable, right? Is it building its satire in a way that accidentally endorses the content, or is it building its satire in a way that's actually readable?
So,
and for me, at least, this tutorial immediately evokes Fred Lucher and the Errol Morris documentary Mr. Death, and I'm not sure I want to be thinking about a Holocaust denier when I start up my my prison sim, but it's just because of his influence in how we conduct executions and conducted executions, especially in Texas, for years.
I think I think that when I described it, I just think that I think that it's like, okay, so like this is a kind of tongue-in-cheeky kind of game. I mean, like, just look at like the art style and stuff, right? It's clearly not trying to be like super realistic prison simulator, but I think starting with an execution chamber as like the very first thing the player builds is just kind of like that's a sensitive political topic, in my opinion. And yes, the game is kind of codifying it, and it's like, oh, though it's not, we're not here to decide if he deserves it, the law has made that, we're just here to do a job. I just think that like, why not have us start by building an expansion to the prison with more cells, right? That makes just as much sense, and probably more. You're going to build more cells and execution chambers over your time playing this game. So they chose to have you start with a fully functioning prison, and then to add on this particular, the death sentence, like as a thing, as the introduction to the game. And I think that says something about the way that they approach this topic.
Well, I think
I don't know if
I
it's
think
tone
that
deaf,
when
maybe.
when I think about the tutorial for a prison building / management game, I think about like a drunk tank. Some low stakes, almost naive like criminal justice solution that you have to provide, but it goes straight to the death zone.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then what that does is that it sets up the idea that the only reason that you as a player have been tasked with this is because this is an integral part of the system to have an execution chamber. Here's your introduction. And I mean, clearly it's set up as a tutorial. Like, it was explaining what the interface was like. It was showing you different spaces and parts of this prison that you're going to have to work with throughout the game. So I think it does work in clearly stating that whether or not you as a player believe this is what we're doing with this prison, because this is the purpose of it as a space.
And I think, like, beyond that, and often the purpose of tutorials is to teach you a skill that you're meant to replicate. And I worry that what this implies is that when you build your prison, well, you're going to have to set up your execution chamber every time, even if maybe that's not what it's intending. And one, that's not factually how prisons work, but that's besides the point. It also just isn't like a myth that we want to be necessarily spreading about the criminal justice system.
Some good discussion going on in the chat. I'm setting up our Trump prison.
Excellent.
I've turned off failure conditions because once he's there, you can't fail. I wanted to have a thing where like you instantly make, like, I wonder. Well, hold on. I'm gonna back up for just a sec. Yeah, there's
answer to
extras.
PH David's comment about whereas the narrative is here. It could be that the campaign is a redemption arc where you learn how to use the death row, but then you learn more humane practices, different kinds of approaches as the campaign goes on. Maybe the killing them is very crude level 1 stuff, but once you're a pro at this game, once you're an expert, you can have these kind of Norwegian open field prisons where people have hobbies, and this kind of thing.
Yeah, normally I wouldn't go and look up the kind of wiki on this, but I'm actually going to go do some reading and get back to you guys on like how this game progresses, because I feel like this is an interesting conversation, but there is a lot of we're not going to be able to get to the context, and it looks like am I right, Eric, that you're moving back to the sandbox mode?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do some searching and see what I can find out.
All right.
To what Matthew just said, quick, that would be really nice, and I hopefully Ren finds something along those lines. As a side note, it's worth noting that it seems like some of the more humane things, like prisoners having the opportunity to do like green labor or some kind of gardening work or something, is a paid DLC, as are some other things that seem to be along the same vein.
Oh, really?
So that's not part of the core game.
Is it free to play?
I don't think so. Give me a second.
No, it's not.
Gotcha.
I paid for this like 5-6 years ago. Alright, so the first things first, we're just gonna, for our Trump prison, I'm gonna build a staff room. We'll put in a kitchen. We're gonna put in the canteen, which we'll put like here. And we'll put in an office over here. And we're gonna put in let's see.
So what you're saying with that is that a humane justice experience is a paid for DLC.
Yeah. Yep. That does check out with the private system or private prison idea.
Yeah, that's pretty much isn't that how humane things work in America?
Color me pissed.
Yeah.
So
All right.
here's something interesting. I've looked through. So really, the story happens in events. You go in and it teaches you how to do each one of these things. Really, the whole game is a tutorial for you to go build your own prison. What's interesting is that there are optional tasks and tasks that you have to do. And the only optional task for prison welfare that I have seen in this entire list of tasks so far is cleaning laundry. You do not have to tend to the medical needs of your prisoners after a riot. You don't need to hire. You don't have to handle the recreational needs of your prisoners. You don't have to handle the environmental needs of your prisoners. You don't have to improve the facilities as far as like the floors and tables and stuff. You don't have to help the alcoholics through recovery or help people with drug addictions. You could just skip that. But there are a lot of basic, punitive measures that are non-optional.
That's really interesting and really sad. And that, to me, just signals that this is less about showing systems of how an existing system could be improved or criticized, and more of just kind of sensationalizing this process.
Tell me it's a game for Americans without saying it's a game for Americans.
Fucking seriously, Casey. Fucking clip that.
One thing that's kind of interesting to me is that what's going on here? Enclosed? Oh yeah, I moved the doors. I went back to the campaign. One thing that's interesting to me is that when the player oh, they wanted me to do paving stone here. Oh, it's too late. I already bought gravel. We'll do an additional round of paving stone around the gravel. Anyways, when the game, when you build this first cell, this is the cell that's holding for the prisoner who's going to be executed, right? Not only is it bigger than the other cells by three squares, they tell you to put a bookshelf into it because that'll make the prisoner happier. But none of the cells that are already in here have a bookshelf in them. Isn't that interesting? I don't know. I find that interesting.
That's interesting. And sorry, go ahead.
I'm done.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and building on this issue of what is excess and what isn't excess to this game. The 4th chapter, which is the one that's focused on reformative programs and prison labor, starts with the doctor coming to you guys and saying, hey, the treatment of these inmates is bullshit. And the things that you have to do to improve the treatment of the prisoners and get ready to be a little bit more pissed is to give them work, give them specifically work in the workshop and work in the kitchen, give them a mail room that they can do, put in telephones, which seems like a pretty basic thing, so they can talk to their families, provide them some amount of education, and provide them Christ. And if you can do those things, that's it. That's all that they require you to do to create a reformative program in this game.
Okay, first of all, in my prison, we would indoctrinate everyone as Satanists. So that's so rude.
It just seems.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, it seems like there's a question of what is excess and what is mandatory. And in the final mission, your achievement, your success criteria is to reduce the re-imprisonment rate by 30%. It's not to take in less people initially. It's to stop people from reoffending. And that to me also, and I can't say exactly why, probably because I'm not super well read on this topic, strikes like a really dissonant chord.
What, so people don't reoffend, or?
The goal is to stop people from reoffending, not to take in less prisoners, like less new prisoners or something like that.
Oh. I actually had one of my professors in college. He was a fantastic professor. I really liked him. He was the warden for the prison where Jeffrey Dahmer was, as well as Ed Gein. And he talked a lot about, he was an abnormal psychology professor, and he talked a lot about making sure prisoners didn't come back to prison. Because, unfortunately, as a prison warden, he didn't have control over the laws of the state that send people to prison, but he could make it his mission to make sure that his prison and his program that he was ahead of didn't let those people got them to a point where they wouldn't come back to their prison or reoffend. Because unfortunately, that's just where he was in the system. He was like, I didn't like seeing the same people over and over again. I wanted to make sure that they didn't come back because I wanted them to have a successful life. So he talked about having a lot of like group therapy sessions and a lot of like hobbies and like restorative stuff to keep them coming back to prison.
Is this gratuitous nipple in our prison game?
Is this a flashback? What is this?
This is a
This
flashback.
wasn't on the wiki. What is going on?
This is horrifying.
But yeah, I wasn't even paying attention when I was giving my little spiel. I was like, this is okay. But yeah, so reoffending versus keeping them out of prison, I don't think it's in the purview of the prison system, unfortunately. Oh, prison architect. But that's my piece.
So my question here is this for every prisoner, or is this a special plot prisoner?
This is a special plot prisoner.
So I side with him, obviously.
So I think this is where the game circumvents, like, calls into question execution.
Right, yeah, I see what you mean.
The priest is trying to make us consider this, but consider the aesthetic choices of the game. The flashback, right? It's a gruesome. It's like right. It wants you to think this person. I shouldn't say. It feels like the game wants me to not like this guy, right? Well, he did a bad thing. He deserves to die, right? And I know the priest is kind of offering a counterpoint here, but the flashback itself, you didn't have to show that, right? You could just have this discussion, right?
Or you could have not used the pulp aesthetic for it. I mean, to draw it like specifically an 80s pulp comic, it just feels really like I was here for like the little figures moving around the map and being erratic. I thought that was kind of funny and cute and fit well, but that pulp aesthetic seems to take things a bit too far for me.
Holy shit. This game is tense. They're like, oh, you just had to witness this conversation. Now, we need you to connect the electrical supply to the electric chair. It's like, this is like some fucking Nazi shit.
Yeah, seriously.
Imagine the pure ego of
So when
this.
I first played this game like 5 years ago, it was like, none of this was in it. I don't know when this was added, but I just remember like, haha, I'm gonna build a prison. Like, my wife, I think, got a bigger kick out of it. And maybe I was a little less sensitive to these issues, but like, this wasn't part of the game when I had first played it. It was like a lot more just like manage the cells. There might be like, you need to keep the prisoners happy because otherwise they'll riot. Like, what I remember about this game was like nothing. Like, I know it's political because it's about frickin' prisons, but I remember it being more about like the gaminess of like managing to keep everyone happy while turning a profit. Like that, like, basic sim things, right? Like a roller coaster tycoon has the same idea, right? Keep everyone happy. This is like dastardly, right?
Yeah, it is.
I'm not crazy, right?
No. What's ridiculous?
This is
to me
really
about this
interesting. Sorry, go ahead, Janelle.
Sorry, just not only is this like dastardly and like a horrible situation for a player to be put in, no matter the game. This is still part of the tutorial. You're being taught how the power works, so that you can then replicate this action in other campaigns.
I think
levels,
in more than
spaces.
one way we're being taught how power works, Janelle.
Fucking thank you, Casey. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being around and talking. Bless you. Yes, that's absolutely true.
You hear the music? It's like grim. It's like, oh, this is evil. What we're doing is evil, but you gotta connect the wires, dude. I'll do it. Fine.
I wonder about these games because, and I mentioned Spec Ops in the line in the chat. The thing with Spec Ops, the line, of course, is you don't get the choice to stop playing, in part because you don't really have full knowledge of what you're doing until the very end. At that point, you're like, okay, well, the game's over. I need to make a choice based on my realization of my actions. This game, I just wonder, in a lot of games like it, where you're doing something like this, is the real win condition to stop playing, or is that antithetical to the purpose of play?
They just keep going.
Holy shit!
It's your new
Who would
electric
play
chair.
this
You
game
own
after
it.
this? Who
Oh
would play this
my
game after this? Who would play the
God.
first 15, 20 minutes of this game and think, yeah, this is a game I want to play? Well, let's put in the dedicated power line.
No.
As interestingly enough, as the player, the only way that you can avoid this is just by not doing it.
Yeah.
All right.
At the same point, maybe like the pulpy, kind of questionable art style kind of what keeps people playing and gets the story's point across. Like, hey, look, it's like Andy Griffith aesthetic. Like, oh, look at this, like Polaroids. This guy got shot, but also makes people
Test it.
want to
How do you? Sorry.
do the next things. So they get the message of the campaign. Instead of just stopping playing the game, people go like, oh, I'll just continue playing it, and then they get into more of the game that gives you more of those difficult situations to think about. Maybe?
I know that I would keep
God is
playing this
intervening.
game for the judgments that you see in the little dialogues as they lead the prisoners to execution. I don't even something like the head guard or whatever saying like, oh, just because you shouldn't have killed, just because they're having an affair, you shouldn't have killed him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And this character, you know, this is what I'm intrigued by. This character who gets his kicks in his job, taking prisoners to their death and just verbally judging them, you know, being the last person they're going to talk to, and just, you know, having his little, making sure everybody knows what he thinks about them.
Mm-hmm. How much?
I just can't believe it. It's crazy to me.
It's
This
actually
is-
$30 on Steam.
This
Oh my
is
God.
this is such.
It goes on sale a
Yeah,
lot,
it's
though.
probably some. It's one of those games you get on sale, you know. Okay. I think I got it for like 10. I mean, it's one of those EA games that early access. Sorry, but there's also a company named EA. Okay.
Yeah, we don't talk about the devil though. Not on this.
Yeah, that's horrible in a different way.
That's late capitalism, baby. I to be honest though, I will admit that I find these kinds of things kind of fascinating in their own way, because a group of people agreed to and committed to making this, you know, and spent months over it. This is kind of fascinating in a horrible way.
Well, and the thing is like I said before, like what I remember the initial advertising for this game, and I think you could go find it, is that, and I'm curious about what's going to happen. I want to end on whatever's going to happen at the end of this little prologue for the stream, but I remember this being more like I said, a lot more about like keep the prisoners happy while turning a profit. Like that was like the outline, right? And like, yes, the prison industrial complex is definitely a problem, but for a type sim game, that makes sense. This is such a bizarre start to the campaign, right? Like build an execution chamber and kill somebody, and you have to be the one to put the power in. It's like, but now look at the CEO is like, right, trying to like backpedal, or not backpedal, but like justify, right? This happens now, out of our hands. We did a professional job, and that's important to our business. Try not to worry about what happens next. Are they going to show it? Or are they just going to fade to black?
I want another full pulp montage.
Oh, you're gonna get it apparently.
Oh no, there's
Holy-
a priest praying.
They're going like, they're going like full. What are they doing?
Is this the guy?
Is
who's
someone
like,
gonna
I
kill the
killed
priest?
That's his ghost.
someone?
It must be.
Oh.
Coming to haunt the priest there.
Spooky, spooky.
I like
Can
that
I
Jesus
help
is. It looks buff.
This is our epistemic closure right here.
Oh, he came and confessed,
Yeah.
I think.
It looks like it.
The art style, the two art styles seem to be really incongruous to me. With like the chibi like overworld or whatever you want to call it, and then the splash art. It just seems a weird mishmash to me. Anyway. What were you gonna say, Morgan?
So the guy came into the priest and was like, I've done something terrible, and the priest gave him like, you know, vague priest platitudes like, you have to forgive yourself and you have to face the consequences of the world. Like, I don't think the priest knew that the guy had just killed 2 people and like led to this. Like, how does a priest
It's so
feel
insidious because you're sitting here watching this and you're out of control unless you hit skip, and you picked the flooring. That's what I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah, that was your choice.
I didn't think it would look that ugly. I'm
It's
sorry
about to
that we're
look a
still
lot
start.
uglier.
I'm sorry, D&DMs is like gonna start in just a second. Sorry.
It's all good. Leia's gonna be late, and so we just have to live with the fact that the last thing that this guy is going to see is your poor interior design choices.
I should have put flowers in here.
Maybe a window. Well, I don't know if anybody else wants to see this.
I do like the Polaroid sort.
I don't feel like we can look away at the point.
Yeah.
Like, how can you play through the prologue of this
The
game and
fucking like hood? Is this like a medieval beheading?
2 counts of first-degree murder?
I think what they really wanted to do was put a white hood, but couldn't, so they went with the closest.
I feel like that actually might be like an accuracy thing. Like, I can imagine executioners at that time.
What about
like,
the other
pictures and
guy?
things.
Sorry.
Well, the captain of the guard's captain of the guard, but like the guy who's pulling the trigger doesn't want to be identified by either other guards, or like if pictures are taken of him, they don't want to be identified as you killed this guy.
Does
Yeah,
God
imagine that's an
canonically exist?
accuracy
Are we
thing.
gonna go to heaven with Edward?
Edward, no.
Okay.
No!
Edward, yes.
So really, you don't get a choice, and you just have to sit with the fact that I just don't feel like the game is. I don't feel like the game is making us feel uncomfortable, or I should say, I don't think the game is intentionally making us feel uncomfortable in the way that we all feel uncomfortable right now.
Oh yeah, I agree.
If the game's done its job right, I think what it is that we don't feel responsible for Edward's death, right? We've created the prison and put the power in for the chairs, but because of this really great narrative, we don't feel responsible for him dying or anything.
I feel responsible. I've read Hannah Arendt. I'm sorry, I can't unread it.
But the game itself, right? That's not the preferred reading of the game.
I mean, but that's the dissonance of all this, right? Is that on one hand, you've installed the flooring and feel responsible for killing the guy, you routed the power, but on the other hand, everything in the game is saying, 2 things. 1, we should imprison him for life, but you have no choice in the matter. Well, really 3 things. 2, that it's not your responsibility anyway because you're not pulling the trigger. And 3, that that even if he does die, he's going to go to heaven, or be forgiven by God. Which is I mean, I understand there's some accuracy to how imprisonment happens in the U.S. and how spirituality relates to that going on there. But it is in this game, it feels like another excuse to not feel like you killed anybody.
The thing is it is institutional, right? Like people who die, people who are killed, by the state. It's an institutional thing, and you are an arm of that institution in this game, right? I brought up Hannah Arendt, but I'm like serious, right? Like Hannah Arendt, if you haven't read her work, which is amazing, she covered the Nuremberg trials, if I recall correctly, and then wrote some books on it. And like in her work, it basically is talking about how people became complicit in like these gross atrocities, right? And it's exactly what we were just doing, right? It's like, well, I didn't kill him. I just built the I just planned the electricity. I built the electrical chair and I built the electricity to it, right? I built the cell that he was being held in beforehand. I put the bookshelf there, right? Like, like, I don't know. This,
I agree that there's a dissonance there, because you have done all of these things, but it's like the thing that you gain through the story gameplay is access to the hidden reasons why. Oh, there's intrigue here. There was actually a crime of passion, and when it's a crime of passion, you feel like, well, actually, this is about Edward. This is about his arc and where it ultimately goes. When you lose your cool, you pop off on your wife's lover, and death row staring you in the face.
yeah, I think that more what I'm trying to say is like not say this game is bad, I guess, but more I think this is just terribly interesting. This is a really bizarre way to start this game. Like I don't know how to put it right. Like somebody decided this, and it is like profoundly meaningful, like in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think clearly there's content that the wiki is not accurately depicting, and I'd be interested to see where it goes with the rest of the stuff, because you're charged with dealing with a prison riot. You're charged with dealing with a huge utility issue. You're charged with rehabilitating prisoners. You're also charged with and then running your own prison on your own is the last one. I don't know if their story beats to that as well. It's interesting because I understood that there were optional objectives, but if there's narrative pressure to perform those optional objectives, that does change, this question of what's excessive and what's mandated.
Well, let's end the stream there for today, because there's another stream that bookends this. We'll be back live in minutes for those of you watching with some Dungeons and Dragons.
1:30. Leia's gonna be late.
Oh, all right. Well, if anyone has any closing thoughts, I guess then I won't feel the need to immediately axe it. So go ahead, Ren. I'm sorry if I cut you off. I apologize.
No. I was just gonna say if this ever gets brought back up for another lunch zone, I would definitely be interested in pushing further into this.
I think that this is a really interesting game. I think that this is worth writing a paper on.
I agree.
Someone should look up Prison Architect game in the UWM. Let's just do that. We can just do that on stream. This is what I do. This is how I do research, everybody. I go here and I just look up, I put in quotes, Prison Architect. And I'll put in video game here because, I don't know. That's a pretty broad term, Prison Architect, right? Okay. No, somebody's already written it. Okay, well, never mind. All right, let's see. What do we got? So we got, I mean, this is very academic, right? Like everyone's like Foucault. Pains of imprisonment in a lock 'em up video game, implications for peacemaking discourse through new media experiences. We got The Virtual Prison as a Digital Cultural Object by Dominique Moran and Lucy Etchegoyen. Dewey and Video Games from Education through Whoop. Let me do that. Okay, so there seems to be two that are really specifically about Prison Architect. All right, let's go ahead and read some of their abstracts. You guys can keep talking while I'm doing this. I'm being kind
I
of...
just want to thank you guys for having me on my first lunch zone.
Yeah, this was great. We loved having you here.
Yeah,
it was nice.
Forward, being a regular feature, being locked down, of course, being a lockdown cockroach, living without slabs, never seeing the sun. It's good to share some fungus with you guys.
Yeah. We can all be making it. Mushroom people. It's like are you 6 hours ahead of Central? So like is it like 7 your time or?
Yeah, it's just after 7 p.m. So it's dark. Starts you guys usually an 11 o'clock start is 5 p.m. for me. So
okay.
It's good because it actually stops me from drinking. Because I know that I can't just be on my computer in my room talking to people online and being completely drunk.
It seems like from the abstracts of these two papers that they like I don't know how to read the last lines where they're like, we could make games that invoke a political consciousness, essentially, and change political attitudes, which is, yeah, of course. But like, it doesn't explicitly state whether the game itself is motivating that or if it's a reaction of the researcher to the game. Which, I mean, the fact that there's not a clear statement within the abstract therein makes me think that the situation is complicated.
Also depends on when the campaign actually got added, because Eric said like, oh, this was not here when I remember playing it, so it might be that the campaign was added, in 2018 or something, after these people had written their articles.
Well, we've got
I'm
some
gonna
good
find out.
researchers here. Yeah, I was about to say. So I'm looking
It's
at these. I do really agree with Dominique Moran and Lucy Etchegoyen in their. They've put here. It suggests rather than being necessary, ephemeral, fleeting, and transient, digital culture production can also be carefully curated and manipulated in ways in which involve both deep reflection on and profound shaping of political attitudes. And that's more what I was trying to get at, I guess. I'm less interested like criticizing the creators of Prison Architect and saying like, this is a bad way to start a video game, bad design, bad narrative, bad politics. That's not really what I'm interested in saying. More, I'm just flabbergasted that that's how they introduce the game to the player, right? It is like, I don't know, like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't play that and not have like start thinking about the death sentence, right? Not be thinking about complicity, right? Of like, does the person who builds the chair, are they complicit, right? The game brings it up, right? It's like, you're not, like, the game's like, you're not complicit, right? You just did your job. But I'm thinking about it, right? Like, like,
By the mere fact of them arguing a point, you think about the point more. It's like, well, why are you arguing that?
And I just think this is a profoundly interesting opening to a game. One of the more, probably, I'll go out on a limb, the most interesting introduction to a sim tycoon game, period. I don't think any others are going to top that. Wow. That's me right now. I'm wowing.
Wow.
Janelle, I think, had to dip. I'm so curious. I want to just hear Janelle talk about this for like an hour. No, often has just some of the most profound things.
Just means
say.
you gotta bring up Prison Architect in another lunch zone.
Maybe.
So, the aspect, the big aspect is whether this game was a passion project, a kind of Toady 1 or Fortress kind of thing, or whether it was something that money was thrown at some people in a studio who had some free time,
2 million copies. Keep going.
Because it's not all farm to table. Sometimes these games get knocked about. Code will sit in drawers or move between hands. So the actual thing that comes out the other end looks like a game, smells like a game, even works like a game, but is made up of different elements, like these kind of like different art styles or whatever that come about because it's kind of got that kind of piecemeal development.
So some history. The story was added in 2015.
Okay, so that means
October
that
6th of 2015.
Those are all 2016s.
Okay, so they got the okay.
The other thing that's worth mentioning, I think, about Introversion, which is the private video games company that made this is not their first kind of blockbuster release. Darwinia is theirs, and DEF CON is also theirs. This is their like 5th game down the line. So they are a smaller studio, but they based in England, but they are definitely a bit of a critical darling.
Do you guys know how to see when you purchased a game on Steam?
Or maybe I think Steam does tell you. I know that because I've seen it before. Like, you've purchased this at this time.
I don't have any. I was trying to try to cheese it by looking at the achievements and hoping that I'd gotten an achievement when I first opened.
If you go to the store page, it might say you bought this on this day.
Okay, I'll go check there. Let's see.
It's so odd. So yeah, it came out. Release date is October 6, 2015. So the story came out with the game.
I think I got it in like alpha or beta though.
Ah, I see. I see. It.
I can't figure that
Like
out.
I'm saying, I might have got this when I was in undergrad. Remember, I had a 2-year gap between undergrad and master, and I'm in my 3rd year of my PhD. So like I'm saying, I got this a long time ago.
Have a look at what
Um,
the curator says. Prison Architect is one of the most in-depth, satisfying builder games.
There's and I agree with what you're saying earlier, what you said earlier, Eric, where it matters ultimately very very little whether or not good politic, bad politic. There's more nuance to it than that. But I do think that there's something to wanting to critique games in the space of like the literacy they promote around topics and whether or not that literacy is working on an audience in a way that is productive. And I think that's, at least I know I can angle more towards authorial intent, and in part that's because I have some interest in production as a text. So I just wanted to clarify my space there, since I know that that's something that I'll land on sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's okay.
We're strictly deconstructionist here.
Yeah, I tend to care less about the I take the there's a great quote by Michel Desserteau, which is that the production of a piece of art tells us little. It's its circulation and use by people that tells us what something is. And that's kind of how I approach it, but I'm trying to figure out. It says here, if I go to store, I'm just gonna show you guys my darn account. That's my go. Oh, account details. Okay, account details. I'm just like, yeah, here guys.
Be careful not to dox yourself here.
I don't think I am.
Or
store preferences? No. View my profile? No, I don't know. Inventory? I don't know. Well, maybe I could go to inventory and then find a prison break. I don't know. Now, whatever. We're gonna end the stream there. We're learning low on Steam. That was really interesting. Holy crap! I am so interested in this. All right. Bye, everybody.
Blog post.
Bye.